The Galactic Council chamber on Station Vex 9 was having what Ambassador Tyla Frost would later describe as the worst day in diplomatic history, and she had once seen a trade negotiation end with someone throwing their shoes. "Let me understand this correctly," High Chancellor Morth said, his 4 eye stalks twitching with barely contained rage. "You brought a predator, an unregistered Earth predator, to a galactic peace summit, where there are children present." Tyla, who was 28 years old and had gotten this job because she was the only human who applied, swallowed hard. "In my defense, sir, the paperwork said emotional support animals were permitted." Emotional support? That creature has killed 3 security drones, eaten through 2 walls, and is currently terrorizing the Plexian delegation. "He's just curious, sir." "Curious? Your beast bit Ambassador Krell's tail off." "To be fair," Tyla said weakly, Ambassador Krell was trying to scan him with a neural probe. Badger doesn't like being scanned. Badger, that was the animal's name, though calling him an animal felt like calling a black hole a minor gravitational inconvenience. He was a honey badger, shipped from Earth as part of Tyla's personal effects, because her therapist said having a pet would help with the stress of being humanity's least qualified representative. The therapist had never met a honey badger. Standing roughly 30 centimeters tall, with gray and black fur that looked permanently angry, Badger had exactly 2 modes: asleep and choosing violence. Right now, he was very much in the second mode, having discovered that the station's ventilation system was both accessible and full of interesting things to destroy. "Where is the creature now?" Morth demanded. Tyla checked her tracking tablet. "Ventilation shaft 7. Or possibly 8. He keeps moving. Find it. Contain it. Or I will have it ejected into space, along with Earth's application for trade membership." Tyla ran. Well, she tried to run, but station gravity was set for Thexian physiology, which meant she bounced more than ran, looking like a distressed kangaroo in a pantsuit. Her communicator buzzed. "Tyla." It was her assistant, a nervous Frel named Kippa whose scales turned purple when stressed. Right now he looked like a grape. "We have a bigger problem." "Bigger than a honey badger loose in the station?" "Yes." The Vren delegate brought his son to the summit. The child wandered off into Section K. "That's the old maintenance area. It's not shielded, and the Kravik pirates know we're here. If they breach, that section goes first." Tyla's blood went cold. Section K. Unshielded. A child. How old? 6 cycles. His name is Fen. Small, blue skin, 3 eyes. He likes drawing pictures of ships. Why isn't security getting him? Security is dealing with your honey badger. He's in the armory now. He's eating the plasma grenades. He's what? Eating them. They're not exploding, but he's biting through the casings like they're candy. Tyla made a sound like a dying engine. Okay, I'll get Fen, you get Badger. Just use the tranquilizer gun. We tried. He ate the darts, then he ate the gun. Tyla disconnected and changed direction, bouncing towards Section K. Her career was over. Earth's membership was over. She'd be remembered as the idiot who brought an indestructible weasel to a peace summit and ruined everything. Section K was dark. Emergency lights flickered, casting shadows that moved wrong. The air tasted like rust and old fear. "Fen?" Tyla called out. "Fen? Are you here? Your father is looking for you." A small voice echoed from somewhere deep in the corridor. "I'm stuck." The door closed. Tyla followed the voice and found Fen behind a magnetic seal door, his 3 eyes wide with terror. "It's okay, buddy. I'm going to get you out." She pulled at the door. Nothing. Tried the manual override. Broken. Tried her security card. Access denied. "Kippa, I need engineering in Section K right now. Engineering is in Section L. There's a reactor fluctuation. The Kravik pirates are scanning us. They know our shields are weak. Tyla, if they attack in the next 10 minutes, Section K will be the first thing they hit. Then we have 10 minutes. She turned back to Fen, forcing a smile. "Hey, you like adventures, right?" "I guess so." His voice was tiny. "This is an adventure. We're going to play a game called Wait for the Door to Open. The prize is not dying. Fun, right? Fen started crying. Tyla wanted to join him. That's when the alarm started screaming. Red lights flooded the corridor. A cold mechanical voice announced, "Hull breach detected. Hostile forces boarding. Sectors J, K, L compromised. Evacuate immediately." No, 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 no. Tyla pulled at the door with everything she had. It didn't budge. Behind it, Fen was sobbing. "Fen, listen to me. Move to the back of the room. As far back as you can. I'm scared. I know, baby. I know. But you need to run. Right now. Run." She heard his small feet pattering away. Then she heard something else. Heavy boots. Lots of them. The Kravik pirates weren't subtle. They came through walls like they owned them, which, after breaching, they kind of did. 5 of them rounded the corner. Big. Armed. Wearing armor that looked like it had been stolen from 6 different species and welded together with hatred. Their leader, a massive creature with too many arms and not enough morals, saw Tyla and grinned. "Human," he growled in broken galactic common. "You worth ransom?" "Not even a little bit." Tyla's hands shook. "But that kid in there is a Vren ambassador's son. You want value, take me. Leave him." The pirate laughed. It sounded like rocks in a blender. "We take both. You die first, though. Less complicated." He raised his weapon. Tyla closed her eyes. She thought about her mom, her terrible apartment on Earth, the houseplant she'd forgotten to water before leaving. Stupid. Things to think about before dying. The weapon charged. She heard the whine of plasma building. Then she heard something else. A sound that didn't belong in a space station. A sound that belonged in Earth's savannah. In the territory of something that had decided millions of years ago that fear was for other species. A growl. Low. Furious. Absolutely done with everyone's nonsense. Tyla opened her eyes. Badger stood between her and the pirates. All 30 centimeters of him. His fur bristled. His small black eyes held the concentrated rage of a creature that had once fought off a leopard, 6 lions, and a porcupine in the same afternoon and considered it a light workout. The pirates stared. One of them laughed. "A rodent? This is your protection." "That's not a rodent," Tyla whispered. "That's a honey badger. And you just made a terrible mistake." The lead pirate pointed his weapon at Badger. "I vaporize it." Badger moved. Not away. Toward. At a speed that should have been illegal for something his size. He covered 5 meters before the pirate could fire, launched himself at the alien's face, and latched on with claws that had evolved to dig through concrete and teeth that didn't understand the concept of too hard to bite. The pirate screamed. His weapon fired wild, hitting the ceiling. Sparks rained down. His companions tried to help, but Badger was already moving, a furry missile of pure spite. He went for the throats, the eyes, the joints in their armor, everywhere that hurt. "What is it?" one pirate shrieked, trying to shake Badger off his arm. "What is this demon?" "It's Earth," Tyla shouted, backing toward the sealed door where Fen was trapped. "We're from a death world, you idiots. Everything on Earth is trying to kill everything else. And honey badgers are at the top of the doesn't care, we'll fight you anyway list." A pirate swung a massive fist at Badger. Badger dodged, climbed up the alien's arm, and bit down on the back of his neck. The pirate went down. Another tried to shoot. Badger was already gone, moving like physics was optional, reappearing on another pirate's chest, clawing through armor plating that was rated for plasma rifles. The lead pirate, bleeding from a dozen wounds, finally got Badger off him. He threw the animal against the wall. Hard. A throw that should have broken bones. Badger hit the wall, dropped to the floor, shook himself, and immediately charged again. "It should be dead," the pirate yelled. "I hit it with enough force to kill a Thex warrior." "Honey badgers have loose skin and a healing factor," Tyla shouted, because apparently this was her life now, providing nature documentary facts during a pirate attack. "You can't hurt him enough to matter. His skin is too thick for most bites. His skull can survive strikes from predators twice his size. and he absolutely does not care about your feelings or your weapons. Badger proved this by climbing inside one pirate's armor through a gap and attacking from home. Within. The screaming was impressive. The remaining pirates looked at each other, looked at their 3 companions who were now on the ground, bleeding and whimpering, looked at the small earth creature that was staring at them with eyes that promised infinite violence. "Retreat," the leader gasped. "Retreat. This mission is cursed." They ran. Actually ran. 5 armored space pirates fleeing from an animal that weighed maybe 7 kilograms. Badger watched them go, made a huffing sound that clearly meant, "Yeah, that's right. Run," and then trotted over to Tyla. He looked up at her. His face was covered in alien blood. His expression was pure innocence, as if he hadn't just committed acts of violence that would give station security nightmares. "Good boy," Tyla said weakly. "Very good boy. But also, you're absolutely insane." Badger sneezed, spraying alien blood everywhere, and then started grooming himself. Behind the sealed door, Fenn's small voice called out, "Is it safe now? Did the scary aliens leave?" "Yes, baby. They left. A very small, very angry earth animal scared them away." "Can I see it? When we get you out?" "Yes. But don't pet him. He's not really a petting kind of animal." Kippa's voice crackled over the communicator. "Tyla, what happened? The pirates are retreating. They're broadcasting some kind of warning about Earth demons. They're leaving the sector." "Yeah," Tyla said, looking at Badger, who had found a piece of pirate armor and was trying to eat it. "Yeah, that sounds about right." Engineering arrived 10 minutes later and freed Fenn. The little Vren boy took one look at Badger, declared him the best puppy ever, and asked if he could keep him. Tyla explained that no, Badger was not a puppy, and no, he could not be kept, and yes, that was definitely blood on his fur. High Chancellor Morth appeared shortly after, looking like he'd aged several cycles in the past hour. "Ambassador Frost, your animal. It saved the Vren delegate's son, and repelled the pirate boarding party. Alone." "Yes, sir." "It's still eating plasma grenade casings in the armory." "Yes, sir. He does that." Morth was quiet for a long moment. "Ambassador Frost, Earth's application for trade membership. I'm approving it." Tyla blinked. "Sir, any species that produces creatures like that, creatures that don't know when to quit, that fight things 50 times their size without hesitation, that protect children they don't even know." He paused. "That's a species we want as allies, not enemies. Also, I'm terrified of what else you have on your planet. Are they all like this?" "Oh no, sir. Most Earth animals are much more reasonable. Honey badgers are special. They're basically made of spite and poor life choices." "Spite and poor life choices," Morth repeated. "Yes, that describes this entire situation perfectly." He looked at Badger, who was now chewing on a piece of bulkhead. "Does it obey commands?" "Sometimes. If he feels like it. Mostly he does what he wants." "Perfect. Just like humans then." Tyla couldn't argue with that. Later that night, after the paperwork was filed and the medical teams had treated the injured pirates who were now in custody, Tyla sat in her quarters with Badger curled up in her lap. He was finally asleep, snoring softly, looking like a normal, peaceful animal. "You're a menace," she told him quietly. "An absolute disaster, but you saved a kid today. You saved a lot of kids, actually. Because if those pirates had succeeded, this whole summit would have turned into a war zone." Badger snored louder. His paw twitched. He was probably dreaming about fighting something. A bear, maybe. Or a tank. Her communicator buzzed. A message from Fenn's father, the Vren delegate. "Thank you for saving my son. I have submitted a formal commendation for your animal. He is now an honorary citizen of Vren Prime. He will always be welcome in our systems. Also, what does he eat? I wish to send gifts." Tyla smiled. She typed back, "He eats everything. But he's partial to snakes, small rodents, and apparently plasma grenade casings. Thank you for the commendation." Another message, this one from Kippa. "The Council wants to know if Earth has more animals like Badger. They're updating their threat assessment protocols. Should I be honest? Tyla thought about bears, wolves, orcas, hippos, all the other creatures humanity had lived alongside and somehow survived. She typed, "Tell them Earth has lots of interesting animals, but honey badgers are unique. Also, tell them we have something called a cat that's even more unpredictable. That should keep them up at night." She set the communicator down and looked at Badger. Small, furry, absolutely fearless. A creature that didn't know the meaning of quit or surrender or reasonable force. "You know what, buddy?" she said softly. "You might be the perfect ambassador for Earth after all, because that's what humans are. Really. We're all just honey badgers in different shapes. Too stubborn to quit. Too brave to back down. Too protective of our own to ever let anything bad happen to them." Badger opened one eye, looked at her, and went back to sleep. Outside the station, in the dark of space, the Kravik pirate ships jumped to hyperspace, broadcasting warnings to every pirate network in the sector. "Avoid Station Vex 9. Avoid all humans. They have demons. Small, furry demons that cannot be killed and do not know fear. We lost 3 ships' worth of warriors to one creature the size of a ration pack. This is not worth any ransom." The warning spread. Within days, every pirate, smuggler, and criminal organization in 3 sectors knew. Humans were protected by something worse than weapons, worse than shields, worse than any military force. They were protected by honey badgers. And honey badgers did not care about your plans, your weapons, or your threats. Honey badgers cared about one thing: making sure nothing hurt the people they protected. And that, as the galaxy would learn, was the most dangerous thing of all. 3 months after the incident at Station Vex 9, Badger had become a legend. Not the good kind of legend, like heroes in stories. The scary kind. The kind that made hardened mercenaries check under their beds. The Galactic News Network ran a feature titled, "Earth's Secret Weapon, a Creature Called Honey Badger." They got 70% of the facts wrong, which actually made Badger sound less dangerous than he was. One reporter claimed he was 2 meters tall. Another said he could breathe fire. A third insisted he was actually a human in disguise. Tyla stopped correcting them. Let the galaxy think what it wanted. Meanwhile, she had bigger problems. Ambassador Frost, Director Queln said through the video screen, his face doing that thing where all his eye membranes closed at once, which meant he was stressed beyond reason. "I'm sending you to Colony Outpost Renderfall 7. It's a mining operation. Disputed territory between the Kravax Union and the Thexian Empire. Tensions are high. We need a neutral mediator. Director, I'm not qualified for dispute mediation. I barely passed my diplomacy exams. I only got this job because you're the human who brought a honey badger to a peace summit and survived. Yes, I know. Everyone knows. That's exactly why you're going. Both sides are terrified of that animal. They'll behave. Sir, using Badger as a threat isn't really ethical." Ambassador Frost. 16 families live on that outpost. 8 Kravax, 8 Thexian. Their children play together, go to school together. If this dispute turns violent, those children are in the crossfire. Do you understand? Tyla looked down at Badger, who was chewing on her boot. Again. She'd gone through 4 pairs this month. "When do we leave?" "Your transport departs in 2 hours. And Ambassador, try not to let your animal eat anything important this time." Renderfall 7 was exactly as depressing as it sounded. A rock floating in space with barely enough atmosphere to breathe, and enough valuable minerals to make people kill each other over it. The outpost itself was a collection of prefab domes connected by tunnels, housing 32 miners and their families. Tyla arrived to find both delegations already screaming at each other in the main conference dome. The Kravax leader, a woman named Sella with beautiful green scales and a temper like a solar flare, was nose to nose with the Thexian leader, a massive 4-armed male named Gorath who looked like he bench-pressed mountains for fun. "Your people stole our mining equipment," Sella shouted. "Your people broke the rotation agreement," Gorath thundered back. "You were supposed to yield Tunnel 6 yesterday. We would have if your idiot nephew hadn't sealed the access with his loader. My nephew is not an idiot. Your daughter is the one who reprogrammed the drilling schedule. Tyla set her bag down. Badger immediately jumped out and started exploring the dome with the focused intensity of a small furry inspector looking for violations. Excuse me, she called out. Hello, I'm Ambassador Frost from Earth. I'm here to help mediate. Nobody listened. They kept shouting. Someone threw a data pad. Someone else threatened legal action. A Kravax miner made a rude gesture that didn't translate but was clearly offensive. A Thexian miner responded by flexing all four arms threateningly. Badger, who had been sniffing a support beam, looked up. His ears went back, his fur bristled. He made a sound like a small motorcycle with anger management issues. The dome went silent. Every eye turned to the small earth creature who had somehow produced a noise that bypassed the language centers of the brain and went straight to the, oh no, predator instinct that every species carried in their DNA. Thank you, Badger, Tyla said sweetly. Now, let's try this again. I'm Ambassador Frost. This is Badger. He's cranky because the transport food was terrible. I'm cranky because I've been traveling for 6 days. You're all cranky because you've been fighting over rocks. So here's what we're going to do. Everyone sits down. We talk like adults. We find a solution. Nobody throws anything. Nobody threatens anyone. And absolutely nobody upsets the honey badger. Clear? They sat. Very quickly. The mediation took 3 hours. Turned out the problem was simple. The mining rotation schedule was based on a Thexian calendar, but the equipment maintenance logs used a Kravax time system. Nobody had noticed until the schedules drifted apart, causing conflicts. Tyla, who had spent 2 years working retail before getting this job and understood scheduling nightmares intimately, suggested they switch to Galactic Standard Time for everything. That's it? Gorath said. That's the solution? Sometimes the simple answer is the right answer, Tyla replied. Now, about the equipment that went missing, that's when the alarms started. Not the gentle, attention please alarms. The screaming, everyone is about to die, alarms that meant something had gone catastrophically wrong. A technician burst into the dome, his faceplates pale with terror. Collapse! Tunnel 8 collapsed! There are children trapped inside. The room exploded into chaos. Parents screamed names. Miners grabbed equipment. Sela was already running toward the exit, Gorath right behind her. How many? Tyla shouted, running after them. 5. 3 Kravax, 2 Thexian. They were exploring during free period. The support beam failed. They reached Tunnel 8 in 90 seconds. The entrance was blocked by tons of rock and twisted metal. Rescue equipment was being hauled over, but everyone could do the math. The children had maybe 20 minutes of air. It would take 40 minutes to cut through safely. We go through the ventilation shaft, Gorath said. It connects to the tunnel. That shaft is 30 centimeters wide, a technician said. None of us fit. My daughter is in there. Sela's voice cracked. We have to do something. Tyla looked at the ventilation shaft, looked at Badger, who was sniffing the opening with professional interest, looked back at the desperate parents. How far does the shaft go? 40 meters. Straight shot to where the children are trapped. And on the other side, after they're found, the shaft branches. One path leads back here. It's blocked now, but we could clear it in 30 minutes. The other path leads to emergency exit 7. It's functional. Tyla knelt down next to Badger. Buddy, I need you to listen to me. I know you don't usually listen, but this is important. There are children in that tunnel. 5 children. They're scared. They're running out of air. They need help. Badger tilted his head, his small black eyes focused on her face. You're the only one small enough to fit through that shaft. You need to go through there, find the children, and somehow, I don't know, lead them back, or stay with them so they're not alone. I know it's a lot to ask. You're not a rescue animal. You're barely a pet. You're more like a natural disaster I'm responsible for. But these kids, Badger, they need you. Badger looked at her, looked at the ventilation shaft, looked back at her. Then, in a move that surprised everyone, including Tyla, He sneezed once, turned around, and walked into the shaft. "Did it understand you?" Sela whispered. "I have no idea," Tyla admitted. "He mostly does what he wants. But he's protective. Back on Earth, honey badgers are fierce about their territory and their family. Maybe, just maybe, he considers those kids part of his territory now." They waited. Tyla strapped a camera to a small drone and sent it into the shaft after Badger, projecting the feed onto a portable screen. The view was dark, cramped, and slightly terrifying. Badger moved through the shaft like he'd done this 1,000 times, his body squeezing through spaces that looked impossible. "There," someone shouted. "I see them." 5 small faces appeared in the camera view, huddled together in the darkness. 3 Kravax children with their distinctive scaled skin, 2 Thexian children with their 4 arms wrapped around each other. They were crying. One was bleeding from a cut on his forehead. They looked so small, so scared. Badger emerged from the shaft entrance near them. The children screamed. One of the Kravax kids threw a rock at him. "No," Sela shouted at the screen. "Don't hurt it. That creature is trying to help you." But Badger didn't attack. He dodged the rock easily, made a huffing sound, and walked right up to the nearest child, a little Thexian girl who was shaking with fear. He sat down next to her. Just sat, close enough that she could feel his warmth, far enough that she didn't feel threatened. The girl stopped crying, reached out slowly, touched Badger's fur. "Soft," she whispered in Thexian. Badger, who had fought pirates and eaten plasma grenades and generally been a menace to civilized society, sat perfectly still and let the child pet him. "I'll be damned," Gorath breathed. "It's comforting them." One by one, the other children moved closer. Badger let them. He made soft grunting sounds, not aggressive, almost gentle. When the Kravax boy with the bleeding forehead started crying again, Badger walked over and pressed his small body against the child's leg, offering warmth and presence. "The shaft we need to clear," Tyla said urgently. "How long now?" 28 minutes. "And their air?" 15 minutes. Maybe less. Tyla's stomach dropped. They weren't going to make it. Even if they worked twice as fast, the children would run out of air before rescue arrived. What if we pump air through the ventilation shaft? Through the one Badger used? Not enough flow. The shaft's too narrow. We'd get maybe 10% more air to them. That's not enough. Tyla watched the screen. Watched Badger sitting with 5 terrified children in the darkness, keeping them calm, keeping them together. There has to be something. We can't just watch them suffocate. An engineer spoke up, her voice hesitant. "There's one option. The emergency exit 7 that the ventilation shaft connects to. It has an external door. If we open it, we can equalize the pressure, flood that section with fresh air from the outpost's main reserves. So do it. The door is manually operated. Someone has to be in that tunnel to open it from the inside, and the handle is designed for adult hands. It takes significant strength to turn. The children can't do it? Not at their age. No. An adult needs to be there." They all looked at the blocked tunnel entrance. 40 meters of ventilation shaft, 30 centimeters wide. No adult would fit. Tyla looked at the screen. At Badger, sitting peacefully with the children, unaware that he was their only hope. She grabbed the drone's control pad and switched it to broadcast mode. "Badger. Badger, can you hear me?" Badger's ears perked up. He looked at the drone hovering nearby. "I need you to do something. I need you to go deeper into that tunnel. Follow the ventilation shaft. There's a door at the end. You need to make noise, scratch at it, bite it. Do something so we know you found it. Can you do that, buddy? Can you find the door?" Badger stared at the drone. Then he stood up. The children immediately protested, reaching for him, not wanting him to leave. He made a gentle huffing sound, touched his nose to each child's hand like a promise, and walked away, disappearing into another section of the ventilation shaft. "Camera 2, someone said, switching feeds. The view changed, showed another dark tunnel, Badger moving through it with purpose, and then, there it was, a door, metal, heavy, With a wheel handle that was indeed sized for adult hands, Badger approached it, sniffed it, looked back at the camera as if to say, "This one?" "Yes," Tyla shouted. "That one. We need it open." Badger studied the wheel. It was positioned about a meter off the ground, too high for him to reach easily. He sat down, looked at it, and Tyla could swear she saw him thinking. Then he jumped, grabbed onto the wheel with his front claws, hung there. His weight wasn't enough to turn it. "It's too heavy," the engineer said. "Even if he had hands, he doesn't have the body mass to create enough torque. That door needs about 50 kilograms of force to open." Badger dropped down, walked in a circle around the door, inspecting it. Then he did something that made Tyla laugh despite everything. He started digging. "What's he doing?" Sela asked. "What honey badgers do best," Tyla said. "Digging. Their claws can dig through termite mounds, which are basically concrete. He's going under the door. But the seal is designed to keep air in, not to stop a determined animal that evolved to dig through anything." They watched as Badger dug and dug. His powerful front claws tore through the floor plating like it was paper. Sparks flew. Metal screamed. He didn't stop. Within 5 minutes, he'd created a gap under the door large enough for his body. He squeezed through. The camera couldn't follow, but they heard him on the other side. Heard scratching, banging, a grunt of effort that sounded almost human. "He's trying to open it from the other side," Gorath said. The wheel started to turn, slowly, centimeter by centimeter. Badger had somehow climbed up on the other side and was hanging from the wheel, using his entire body weight, swinging himself to create momentum. It shouldn't have worked. The physics didn't support it. But honey badgers didn't care about physics. The wheel turned. The locks disengaged. The door cracked open. Fresh air rushed into the tunnel with a hiss that was the most beautiful sound Tyla had ever heard. "Air pressure stabilizing," a technician shouted. "The children's section is getting Tyla. Fresh air. They're going to make it." The rescue team finished clearing the shaft 20 minutes later. They pulled the children out one by one, dirty and scared but alive. Their parents grabbed them, crying, holding them like they'd never let go. Medical teams checked them over. Minor injuries only. Dehydration. Shock. But alive. All 5. Alive. Badger emerged last, carried by one of the rescue workers because he'd apparently decided he was done walking for the day. He was covered in dust and looked extremely unimpressed with everyone and everything. Sela approached Tyla, her daughter clutching her leg. "Your animal. He saved them. He understood what needed to be done, and he did it." "How?" "I honestly don't know," Tyla admitted. "Honey badgers are smart. Smarter than people think. They can use tools, solve problems. But this was something else. It's like he knew those children needed help and decided to provide it. No training, no commands. Just pure instinct to protect." Gorath knelt down in front of Badger, which was brave considering Badger's track record with large aliens. "Small warrior, you have saved both our children, Kravax and Thexian, together. You have reminded us that we are not enemies. We are neighbors, parents, people who should protect our young together, not fight over rocks." Badger sneezed in his face. Gorath laughed. Actually laughed. "Yes, you are right. We are foolish. Thank you for your honesty." That night, the miners gathered in the main dome for an impromptu celebration. Someone produced instruments. Someone else produced food. The children, fully recovered and already turning their trauma into playground stories, insisted that Badger sit with them. He tolerated the attention with the patience of a saint, which was wildly out of character, but nobody questioned it. Tyla sat with Sela and Gorath, watching the party. "So, about the mining rotation schedule." "Already fixed," Sela said. "We talked to the engineers. Everything's acted on Galactic Standard Time now. We also, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, decided to combine our operations. Joint venture, 50-50 split. Our children play together, learn together. We should work together too. The Kravax Union won't like that," Tyla warned. "Neither will the Thexian Empire. They want this territory divided. Then they can come here and explain to our children why we should fight each other, Goreth said firmly. I suspect the children will have opinions. Strong opinions. Possibly involving the honey badger. Tyla grinned. That's definitely a diplomatic strategy. Unconventional, but effective. Her communicator buzzed. Director Queln's face appeared, and he looked like he'd received some very interesting news. Ambassador Frost. I've just been informed that the Kravax Union and the Thexian Empire have withdrawn their territorial claims on Renderfall 7. Both cited, and I quote, desire to avoid conflict in regions protected by Earth animals. They're recognizing it as an independent colony. That's incredible. It gets better. 6 other disputed colonies have requested Earth mediators. Specifically, they requested you and the honey badger. Apparently, your reputation for protecting children has spread. Both sides in these disputes are suddenly very motivated to reach peaceful agreements rather than risk. And I'm reading directly from one message here, angering the small fury demon that fights for younglings. Tyla looked at Badger, who is currently letting a Thexian child braid flowers into his fur, while a Kravax child drew pictures of him with crayons. Director. Badger isn't actually a demon. He's just a regular Earth animal that happens to be fearless and protective. Ambassador Frost, I don't care if he's a demon, a deity, or a particularly aggressive houseplant. He's brought more peace to this sector in 3 months than the last 10 years of traditional diplomacy. You're being promoted. Senior Ambassador. With full authority to negotiate settlements in disputed territories. Sir, I still barely know what I'm doing. You know enough. You understand that protecting children matters more than politics. You understand that sometimes peace comes not from threats, but from showing people what they have in common. And you have a honey badger, which frankly is worth more than 3 battle fleets in terms of intimidation factor. Accept the promotion, Ambassador. Tyla looked at the miners celebrating together, at their children playing without any awareness of the species differences that had nearly torn their colony apart, at Badger, who had saved them simply because it was the right thing to do. I accept, sir. Good. Your next assignment is Colony Outpost Fenris. Another dispute. Similar situation. Children involved. We'll be there, sir. The transmission ended. Sela raised a cup in Tyla's direction. To the ambassador and her warrior beast. To Ambassador Frost, Goreth echoed. May her creature continue to terrify our enemies and protect our children. To Badger, someone shouted. The galaxy's smallest, angriest guardian. They cheered, raised their drinks, celebrated not just the children's rescue, but the peace that had come from it. The realization that they'd been fighting over resources while their children played together, unaware that adults thought differences mattered. Later, much later, when the party had wound down and the children had been tucked into bed with extra kisses and promises that yes, they were safe, Tyla sat in her quarters with Badger on her lap. He was finally still, exhausted from his heroics, his small body warm against hers. You know what you did today, she said softly. You didn't just save 5 children. You ended a conflict that could have escalated into violence. You showed everyone that protecting the young matters more than territory or resources or politics. You're not just my emotional support animal anymore, buddy. You're a peacekeeper. Badger opened one eye, looked at her with an expression that clearly communicated he did not care about titles or politics or anything except maybe dinner, and went back to sleep. Tyla smiled. She pulled up the Galactic News Network on her tablet. The headline read, Earth Animal Saves Children, Brings Peace to Disputed Colony. Galaxy wonders what other creatures humans have hidden. The article speculated wildly. Were there more honey badgers? Were they trained warriors? Did Earth have an entire army of these creatures? Was this humanity's secret weapon? Tyla could have corrected them. Could have explained that Badger was just one animal, that Earth had plenty of other species, that honey badgers were rare and mostly left alone because they were, frankly, too much trouble to deal with. But she didn't. Let them wonder. Let them imagine that humanity had legions of fearless creatures ready to protect the innocent and fight for peace. The truth was almost as good. Earth did have something special. Not an army of honey badgers, but something better. Earth had survived alongside creatures like honey badgers, had learned from them, had adapted to live on a planet where everything was dangerous and nothing was easy, and that had made humans resilient, stubborn, protective of those weaker than themselves. In a galaxy that often forgot that children mattered more than territory, that peace was worth fighting for, that sometimes the smallest creature could make the biggest difference, Earth's greatest weapon wasn't technology or military might. It was the lesson learned from sharing a world with honey badgers. Never give up, never back down, and always, always, protect the young. Badger snored. Tyla laughed quietly and closed her tablet. Tomorrow they'd travel to Fenris. There would be another dispute. More children at risk. More adults who'd forgotten what mattered. But tonight, 5 children slept safely. 2 species had found peace, and 1 small honey badger had reminded the galaxy that courage didn't require size, strength, or weapons. Just the absolute refusal to let anything hurt the ones you protected.